Hi guys, my name's AJ. I'm the owner of Bird's Eye View Aerial Images. Hopefully you've seen some of my work on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Today we're going to be giving you a little bit of a behind the scenes look at what it is I do, and we're going to enhance a project that I've been working on a little bit. I've had an idea for a while. You may have seen the Hobart Data Center Project I've been working on since that got started. It's going on a year or so, maybe not quite that long at this point. For a while, I wanted to go look at other data centers, so we've got two that we're going to go check out today. We're going to head up to Portage and take a look at that one. It's allegedly significantly smaller than the project in Hobart. I've never been there before. I've never seen it, so I don't know. And there's also one in New Carlisle, Indiana. We're going to head out there. That one's supposed to be pretty big. So we're going to get a little bit of footage from both of those. I'll give you a little bit of a look behind the scenes on what it is I do, and hopefully it turns out to be a pretty good video. So today we're going to be using a DJI Mavic 4 Pro. I'm taking 3 of my batteries with me. I shouldn't need too much more than that. Kind of like to travel light. I've also got my DJI Avata 2. Like I said, hopefully I don't need that, but you never know. Sometimes it's got to use, or sometimes you'll stumble into something and a smaller drone is a little bit better. I'm also going to bring with me this little microphone looking thing. This bought this off of Amazon about a month ago or so. It's meant to record the decibel levels of sound. I played with it a little bit last night. It seems to work. It's functional. I've never used anything like that before, though. I was researching a little bit what various things are supposed to sound like, and it was in the ballpark. So we'll take it with us and maybe dispel some of the myths about data centers, too. Who knows? We'll see. All right, we have my breakfast, so we're going to get on the road. I just checked an app on my phone called Autopilot. It basically gives me information about the airspace in the area of where I'm going to go flying. I already knew that this area was pretty close to the national parks up there by the lake. It really annoys me that that's something I can't fly just because it's national park. There's so much beautiful scenery up there. You can get a lot of cool shots if you had the ability to fly it, but that shouldn't interfere with what we're doing today. It is Class G airspace otherwise, so we're going to get on the road. Alright, we're on scene for our first flight. You can kind of see off over my left shoulder, back behind me. That is the building that I do believe is the data center out here in Portage. It's not a very big building. I was kind of surprised. It's quite small, so it's definitely not even close in scope to what's going on in Hobart. But we're going to throw the drone up in the air, take some pictures. I did drive past a couple times. It looks like they've got some very heavy security guarding the front of the building. I have no interest in going in anyway, though, so we'll throw the drone up in the air and we'll see what kind of footage we can get. I'm gonna move over here and launch from the ground because I don't like what's up above me over there.
Takeoff. Home point updated.
Again, we're flying a Mavic 4 Pro today. It's pretty overcast, so I've got ND filters on it. I've got the lightest one in my kit. I believe it's a 4 and an 8. There we go. You can see the building here that we came out to see, at least what I believe we came out to see. Also a beautiful view of the steel mills there in the background. Those woods behind the building are considered, what's the term? I can't fly there. It's basically airspace that I can't fly in. I'll throw up a little thing on screen once I go into the editing process for this video. We're going to take a little bit of a loop around real quick. Just moved up to about 150 feet. And I'm not sure of what most of that is that we're looking at, but if that's the building, and based on that security car you see in the background that's been driving around since I got here, I do believe that's what we're here to see. And you can see heavy fencing there off on the left. That stuff might all be cooling related there, I don't know. zoom in on this guy here. This is a security car that's been doing laps pretty much since I got on scene. He went to go get breakfast, it looked like, right around the time I got here. So I'll pitch back up here. And we'll pan back around the other way. Flights like this are kind of fun for me because it's real easy. There's not a lot in the area that's going to cause me headache as far as obstacles with trees and power lines and stuff like that. There are some power lines off camera left here, but nothing that really concerns me too much. One of the cool things about the Mavic 4 is I can see exactly what I'm flying at on a little screen on the left corner of the screen in front of me. And you can see lots of security right around there. Two security gates. That fencing is no joke fencing either. You're not gonna drive through that real easily or anything like that. But that is the building in Portage that I believe we came out to see, or I believe that is the building in Portage we came out to see. It doesn't really look all that big and scary, but who knows what's going on behind the scenes. I'm not gonna try and go in or anything like that, but we'll zoom in here and we'll get a good look at that gate real quick and maybe pan back the other way and get a good one of the fencing here. I moved up to about 250 feet just to make sure I stayed away from power lines. It shouldn't be an issue at all. I don't think they're much more than 100 feet tall, if that. It's probably even lower than that. Zoom in, that's 2.5 times right there. You can see they've got gates in front, then a little guard shack back there, top left of the camera. And pull back on this fencing here. And you can see it's pretty heavy duty fencing there. We're not messing around when it comes to security around here. I haven't really researched why there's so much security around data centers. Another gate there and another heavy duty steel gate behind it. But given some of the rhetoric you see online, it wouldn't surprise me if this is just to kind of combat that. Again, there's our security friend making another lap around the building. If he was going the other direction, he might make for a good NASCAR driver someday. Just making left turn, another left turn. So we're going to pause this, bring the bird back in, and start looking at how to get to the one in New Carlisle. And one of the cool things about this particular site, there's drone laws about staying within visual line of sight, and that was very, very easy to do here. Very small site, very easy with very few obstructions in the area to keep the drone in sight. I have had to get a little creative with my editing to try and make everything seem more seamless at the Hobart project, just because it's so massive. I have 4 or 5 different areas that I'll park at and try and hide my personal vehicles.
Landing.
But I've really had to get creative to make that whole thing look seamless. So, but another safe and successful flight, no issues, no damage to the drone. So we're gonna shut it down. Hopefully that footage was good. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I've never done a live flight like this before, if you will. Normally I'm able to take 2 or 3 shots at something and edit it in post. When I get to editing and when I make the video that I intend to make, not the behind the scenes video, I still will be able to edit and crop and do a lot more than this behind the scenes video will show. But that's the difference between a behind the scenes video and the professional product that I try to put out every week, 2 weeks, whatever it is I get to fly. So yeah, we're gonna load up and get on the road for our next stop.
Home point updated.
All right, so I forgot to get a shot that I wanted to get. I obviously got a real tight in shot of the data center, but I kind of wanted to show what the rest of the area around here looks like. So we're gonna throw it back up in the air real quick and get that shot. That's the problem with doing things
Take
live.
off. Home point updated.
You get distracted pretty easily, and it's a good thing I make my shot lists, because I would probably end up missing out on a thing or two if I didn't do that. All right, so you can see the data center right there, and you've got a beautiful view of the steel mills behind it. We're going to do a quick 360 right here just to show what else is in the area. Most of it looked like it was warehousing. There's a massive building over there. Not sure what that is. It looks like it's a warehouse of some sort, though. Most of this is an industrial park. You got 94 right there, and I believe it's 249 or 149 right there. But mostly marshland and swampland, I believe. They don't come up to this area too often. You can see you got a subdivision right over there. That looks like, yeah, that is the river leading out to the lake. So, and then more steel mill, and then back to the building we came to see. I'm going to zoomed all the way out. We're gonna head over to how I got in here. That's the intersection I came in on. There's 94 right there. I believe that's 149, don't quote me. You can see Bass Pro off in the background. Love that store. Spent entirely too much money there. We're gonna do another 180 here just to capture everything that's in the area. You can see a real wicked haze today. This is all retail and restaurants and stuff like that. You got the mills off in the background. That's another area that I'd love to fly, but security is just so tight and the airspace doesn't allow for it. It's kind of a shame. There'd be so much cool stuff over there. There's just about a complete 360 of what you see in the area. One of the cool features on some of these DJI drones is I could fly back. I know exactly where I am. I can still see myself. But I've got a button down here that you just press and hold, I'm sorry.
Return to home.
And it's going to bring itself back to me. It is doing exactly that now. It's a little slower than I would typically fly, but it's currently coming at me at about 20. Oh, that's just picked up the speed now. There we go. It's almost 30 miles an hour. So, and you just sit here and watch it make its way back. It's just a tiny little speck up there in the sky, but it's there. You can see it. No. And it is almost over us right now. We're gonna shut down the auto land. I don't like that. I'd just rather land it myself. There we go. Good view of me and my truck. And down we come. Forgot my sunglasses today. Staring up in the sky like this, not fun. It's even worse on a sunny day. I've actually had times where I'm staring straight into the sun. I have to reposition and bring it down just because you can't see what you're looking at. But down we go.
Landing.
And we're on the ground. Alright, we're still about 3/4 battery, which is good. I'm not burning through my batteries too quick today. I only brought 3 with just because I wanted to pack a little bit light. This is that microphone I showed you a little bit ago. I'd say we're probably 200, maybe 250 yards away from the data center. We're going to turn this thing on and see just what the sound is right here. Currently, when I'm quiet, it's hanging out at about 50 decibels. When I'm talking to the camera right in front of me, it jumps up into the 60s, about 66, 67, somewhere in there. Again, this is a much smaller data center than what's going on in Hobart and some of the other areas of the country. But this is, I mean, we could easily have a conversation right here. I'm not talking very loud at the moment, and it's really, really quiet. All right, so with the running vehicle, we're hanging out in, if it focuses, been in the 50s still. I will throw something up on screen once I go into post with this to show what various levels of sound are supposed to sound like, but my truck is louder than the data center behind me. So we'll drive up a little closer, see if it's a little louder up there. All right, I moved my vehicle and I am currently parked maybe 20 yards between me and the fence. And I can hear a very slight hum. I can't tell. I mean, it's definitely coming from the data center. I can't tell what it is, though. I think I have louder noises at my personal house than this. I'm going to shut my car down for a second and kill the engine. And we're going to pull that microphone back out. We are hanging out under 70 decibels. Let's see if I think you can see it says it's hanging out under 70, and I'm talking at the moment too. It's picking that up. So zoom back out. So as far as noise goes, this one's pretty quiet. But again, much smaller project than what's going on in Hobart. Not going to do anything that's going to be deceptive in any of these videos or anything like that. I'm just kind of reporting the facts as I see them. So, and that's not to say that this building doesn't make more noise, you know, with backup generators or something like that. Although I would kind of believe that it can't get too much terribly louder than this. There's not a lot of equipment on site that I would expect to make a ton of noise. Again, I'm not going to try and get into the building and take footage there. Probably get shut down on that pretty quick, but I'm not seeing anything here that is all that terrifying or horrifying. There is a subdivision, as we saw in the video, not too terribly far away, but this thing sat here until very recently, and a large portion of Northwest Indiana, or the area in general, just didn't know about it. There was no complaints about it. Nobody even really knew that it was here. And I find that to be a little bit interesting that now all of a sudden there's one in Hobart, and then there's so much uproar about these things all across the country. Now, granted, again, that project in Hobart is way bigger than this, way bigger than this. And New Carlisle is supposed to be a little bit more of a representation to what the Hobart project's supposed to be. So when we get out there, maybe that'll be a little bit different. But that one's been up and running for a while now. And as it says, this one was built in 2000. I believe the property was bought in 2000 and it became operational in 2024, if I remember right. I'll put that information in the video at some point. We've got just about everything on my shot list for this one, so we're going to get on the road and we're going to New Carlisle now. Alright guys, after filming this project and spending several hours at this point editing the project, I'm going to change up what I'm doing here. Originally I had planned on trying to make this video about 20 minutes long, but it's just not going to do it justice if I cut it down that much. You've watched about 20 minutes so far, and as you can see, I am just wrapping up what I was doing at the Portage site. And it's important that I get this right, I feel. When I'm reading posts online, there's so much misinformation, one-time anecdotal evidence, temporary issues that are presented as permanent problems, just outright deceptive posts where if you do any research at all, you can see that it's just not at all close to reality of the situation. Now, I can't stress this enough. I am not pro-data center. I'm not anti-data center. I'm fairly neutral on the issue, and I see both sides of the argument. If you're part of the anti-data center crowd, you're likely scared of potential permanent noise issues. I've seen videos showing what are apparently permanent noise issues, but I do try to address some of that in this Portage video, and then as you'll see in the new Carlisle section. They're scared of permanent environmental damage, which that's a pretty valid concern. They're scared their property values will go down. There's lots of things that if you're not familiar with what's going on with these data center projects, I can understand why someone would be scared. That being said, though, most of the outright false and or misleading posts that I see do come from the anti-data center crowd. And most of these posts, it takes 30 seconds of research and you can see that it's either misleading or false. Now, if you're on the pro-data center side of this, you're probably focused on the money that this is going to be bringing to your town, or in this case, Hobart. The money that gets brought in because of the data centers often is used for improving roads, parks, police and fire departments. Hobart recently just did a grant. I don't know the details of it, but it was basically like a home improvement grant. And that's all money that came from the data center coming to town. And there are benefits of it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't deny it. There are benefits of a data center coming to your area. The people on the pro-data center side of the argument are probably also focusing on job creation, not just permanent jobs at the data center, but the temporary work it brings in to build up the facility. Plenty of construction work. And it sounds like these things go up quick once they do go up, but it is still work for a lot of people. You can see when I'm filming the Hobart Data Center just how many cars are on that site, well, it's technically two sites. Both sites have quite a few cars there and quite a few people working. Now, I don't know how many people will get a full-time job there once it's built, but right now it is creating work for people. That being said, the pro-data side of the argument, especially from the corporate level, let's be honest, let's call a spade a spade. Corporations can be as misleading, if not more misleading, than our federal government is, and that's not okay either. And that lends a lot of credence to the anti-data center arguments, because you don't know that you can trust some of what you're seeing. And that's fair, I understand that. But I personally am doing what I can to remain as neutral as possible and present things as I see them. Just the facts, not opinions, not bias, nothing like that. It's just throwing out there what I see, and I can't stress that enough. With this in mind, though, that's kind of why I'm changing this project. I would be cutting out way too much that I feel needs to be seen to present this as a neutral and unbiased project. There are parts of the video that I am taking out, and part of it you'll see in the new Carlisle portion is because I was point blank asked not to put somebody's face on camera, and I'm okay with that. I can completely understand that, and I'm going to respect that. But I'm not going to do anything that is misleading or painting this in a one direction or another type of project. This is me going up the middle as much as I can, trying to show the facts of the situation and the realities on the ground. As far as the Portage facility goes, there are a couple things that I wanted to button up and just clarify a little bit, because I was kind of shooting from the hip while I was on scene. That building is owned by AWS, which is Amazon's web services. It is a cloud computing division. That means it runs things like Netflix, Disney Plus, websites, software for banks or hospitals, that type of stuff. It's all computer-based stuff. The land itself was purchased in 2020. The construction on the project began in 2023, and the facility became operational in 2025. The cost for the project itself was about $87 million. $35 million of that was for the building itself and the construction of the building. $52 million of that was for the servers and the technology inside of the building. I hope you've enjoyed the project so far. If you have, like, subscribe, do all the things you're supposed to do to support a YouTube and Facebook page, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.